Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and something I get asked quite a bit about because I'm someone who has a lot of experience with this. I am someone who used to manufacture performance-enhancing drugs. I used to help quite serious athletes, university-level athletes, get through their drug testing and pass it. And so people always ask me things of how do you get rid of drugs in sports if you want a clean division? And I've been asked this by a friend of mine, even who's an official in the IPF, of how do you go about this? And well, my answer to people is that the drug testing itself, if your methods are purely through drug testing rather than psychological, you will fail every time. There is no drug test you can ever invent that will stop people who are determined to beat it. And when you're dealing with any sport that doesn't have millions or billions of dollars to invest in their anti-doping program, like the Olympics spends billions every Olympics and still fail, unless you have that type of money, there's just no way. You're never going to catch anyone who's smart unless they screw up or they make a mistake or they get unlucky. It's going to be luck based because they'll generally get around your testing most of the time. And so my federation that I compete in and I'm a referee in, the BPU, has just started its drug tested division. And the way they're doing it, because I actually had discussed this with our president before, Emma James, of the way they're doing it, I think is going to give you the best chance of having a drug-free federation. Because in my experience, having worked with athletes and as someone who I know a number of athletes who compete actually in the IPF who use steroids and cheat. And I know how they cheat. I've chatted with them about it to get through the testing, and it's just not that difficult for them. And I know people who do it, and I understand the motivation behind why people do it. Now, people do it in other sports if the only thing they have available, and whether either their egos or their possible careers depend on it. If there's money on the line, people always cheat. Hands down, there's no way to get rid of it as soon as there's money involved. So we're talking purely amateur sports. So step one, you got to take all the money out of it. If there's money there, the cheaters will win every time. They're always going to find a way to get around it. Nothing you can do about it to give up at that point. You can't get rid of it in pro sports. But amateur sports like powerlifting, what you have to do is remove the elitist attitude towards it. Because what you find is that if people feel that the federation, the drug-tested federation, or federations happen to be the best or the only ones that count, if that's the attitude that's put forward, they're going to go ahead and go to those and cheat because they want their list to count for something. They were going to use drugs anyways, and they feel like they might as well get the most prestige they can get, so they'll tend to compete in those. What you will find in federations like ours, to where there is no more incentive, there is no more awards, no extra meets, nothing special about competing in the untested versus the tested, other than just one of them gets one set of trophies and the other gets a different set of trophies. They're all the same colors, the same awards, compete at the exact same events. You remove the incentive to try to cheat and take that tiny risk you're going to get caught in the untested. You're competing for the same awards, and if you get caught and you get kicked out, you can't compete in either one, so you've wasted a lot of efforts. That is going to be the biggest deterrent, is because they're not getting anything out of it that they couldn't get in the untested. All they're doing is taking risk to hopefully try to compete against people who aren't on anything. So the reward is much lower to them on an ego level or a personal level, with an actual higher degree of risk for them in the long term. Because even over here, if someone gets kicked out of the drug tested federations, they can always come compete in the untested. We're the biggest untested. They get kicked out of us, they don't have anywhere to go. So that is how you do it. You have to have side-by-side tested and untested divisions with the exact same accolades and awards without any more emphasis being put on one versus the other. And when you do that, that is how you psychologically create an environment where people are far less likely to cheat. Because the drug testing alone won't do it. So hopefully that kind of breaks it down, and that is what we're trying to do right now in my federation. So I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time. But let me give you guys a bicep shot before I go. Oh. Mount Vesuvius.